Oh yeah.
I can fix him. Like, nah,
Hey.
I give me that guy. I can fix him. Like, they all want that. That's why they're in coaching. So, not saying it won't happen, but I am with you right now as a pro prospect in terms of a high level pro prospect, not a developmental one, which is very, very different. If you draft a quarterback in the top 15,
Yeah.
you don't need him to be okay.
Yeah. That's
You
right.
need him to be top 10 in the NFL, which
Mm-hmm.
is very rare. Like, there's only 10 guys on the planet there. It is very hard to get there. And if you draft a guy in the top 15, if he's not a top 10 NFL quarterback, nobody's going to say it was great.
Yeah. Well, that's the different paths you talk about. And I do agree with you that there's no tried and true path to your quarterback in the future being that you get the guy in the top 5, or you team build, or you team build and then get your top 5 guy. Like you said, there's those tracks, and I think you can go down those different tracks. But from my standpoint, I do find myself in a general leaning place going, get the team built up, or at least get the offensive line built up for the guy. Get him things in a cogent place before, because there seems this sort of superhero concept approach to the quarterback position that they're going to just shoot laser beams out their eyes and fly on high, and that they can solve all these problems across the board. And that's where I get just a sneaking suspicion I have about that lazy outlook on team building from some teams, as opposed to doing it right and laying the bricks down to get this kid in the best position to succeed.
It's very difficult to do. We should say that up top. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And obviously not everybody does it. It is difficult. It is very difficult to do with nothing. Again, if you take a quarterback and you dump him into a completely, a house with no walls, right? Something that's a complete teardown, it just has some studs and not even all of them, right? No walls, no plumbing. Like, it is very difficult for a quarterback to thrive in that environment. Like, that is the rarest possible situation where a quarterback is so good, so transcendent, that as a rookie, they can manage that. Because again, we just talked about how tough that transition is. So there's the mid-level approach of get some, and then as soon as you get your quarterback, make sure that he's adaptable, has some ability to scramble, can get out of those situations, and then it's a race before you get out of that rookie contract to build the rest of the team around him. You've already built some, and you got a couple more drafts, you got a couple more years, and then you have a couple more years of the rookie contract, and it all has to flow together. And the timing all has to work. You have to be right. You have to make the right draft picks. You have to make the right free agency choices. Like, everything has to work together. It's very difficult to do. And then there's the build all the way. And again, then there's timing on those contracts, because contracts in the NFL typically 2 to 3 years. I don't care what the contract length says. It's typically a 2 to 3 year deal. Unless you're a super duper star. And then even so, super duper stars don't want to be limited more than that. So those are going to start timing out for how quickly your rookie develops or not. Right. So when you say build all the foundations and build a super nice house, turnkey, right, fully furnished, move the guy in, he's got to play well then too, because if not, everybody else is going to age out and you got to start over again. So you got multiple sliders. None of the circles ever really stop. And at some point you have to say, like a lot of things, we were talking about parenthood and some other large decisions in life, right? Nobody's ever ready, right? You just go, I think we're ready enough, and we'll learn the rest of it as we go. And NFL teams are the same. You're never going to have the completely turnkey furnished house that you just turn over to your top 10 quarterback. Like, that doesn't work that way. I mean, the Bears are as close as any team's been in the last decade to doing exactly that. If you look at the roster that Caleb's inheriting, it is very good for a rookie quarterback. Much better than a typical top 10 pick walks.
Even better than Russell Wilson got?
Yeah. Like, I would say.
Because Russell Wilson walked in with the highest paid offensive line in the books. That was a time when you had Sidney Rice coming in on the rise. You had Zach Miller as your tight end.
I understand.
I like it. I like it. But that's why this is where I get starry eyes for that approach, I guess, to kind of, is that we went to back-to-back Super Bowls, not with Russell Wilson playing like a top 5, top 6 quarterback at that time.
Right. But you had to get extremely lucky on Russell, which is the other thing. Like, that is a very, very rare situation. It does happen, 100%. But
hard to replicate.
Yeah. You had to, and again, that wasn't the plan. Right?
No.
They had paid big money to Matt Flynn, and he was the presumptive starter.
Yeah.
By the way, funny story.
Yeah.
So my local watering hole right up the road, where I go to get a beer every once in a while and have lunch, was talking to the bartender one day, and he's, "What do you do?" I said, I run a football podcast. He said, "Oh, really?" He started talking. He grew up in Texas. His high school quarterback was Matt Flynn. And he went on to play linebacker at Oklahoma State. He walked on at Oklahoma State.
Oh, wow.
And then they both ended up in Seattle, completely different reasons. Like, he moved up here with his family, pursue a different career. And Matt Flynn got traded from the Packers to the Hawks. He's like, "Hey, buddy." I was like, your high school quarterback was Matt Flynn? Really? That Matt Flynn? He's like, same one. I was like, okay.
Still one of the most legendary contracts in NFL history. The 6 touchdown performance he threw with those Packers team that one game.
Oh my God. Well, the Packers backups did it. I mean, all the time. Brunel did it. Like that was Ron Wolf's development strategy, right? Ron Wolf famously said draft quarterback every year. And the reason was because every 2 to 3 years they'd pay one off. Trade him.
Well, we got it with Hasselbeck.
Yeah.
Hasselbeck was that
100%.
whole way.
Like,
going
that's
back.
the Holmgren connection.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, Ron Wolf knows how to grow them. Like, I'll take one. And he did for a long time. So again, like different way to do it. Yeah, that approach has changed. Not NFL teams don't do it anymore, but you are seeing a little bit of that change with number twos. A couple of years ago, number twos in a lot of teams were complete throwaways. I think people took Tom Moore's advice with Peyton Manning a little too literally, because somebody famously asked Tom Moore during a Colts practice, they're like, "Hey, I noticed you don't practice a lot when 18's not under center." 18, Peyton Manning. He said, "If Peyton Manning goes down," he said, honestly, he said 18